Hello and welcome to JagaVision, episode 137. I am your co-host, Jared Nyberg. I am the co-owner of JagaSilk here in Victoria, BC. I'm putting on these shows every week, every second week, more recently. Today, I have my guest is our honorary co-host. She hasn't been on the show in a while. This is going to be Sherri Anne joining us from Montreal. Sherri Anne, welcome to JagaVision.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
It's been a while, hey?
I know.
I think the last time was when you were in Victoria, when you popped on at the end of that episode with Pedro when he was here in Vic, doing that recording with me, doing the different kind of milling of matches.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't that long ago. That was just like a month ago.
Yeah. So, but you've been keeping busy. And for those who are just watching JagaVision for the first time, Sherri Anne is the lead singer of Sisters. JagaSpeak, right? Is it official that you're actually recording another album, or is that just something that's in the works, or are we talking about your...
No, it's happening. It's happening. It looks like in June.
Wow. Okay. You want to talk a little bit about that? What's happening in June?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully if the stars all align. So this album right here, Love for All, we're gonna do a version of the song in French.
Oh wow.
Yeah, an acoustic version. So we'll take some of the production of that song, and then Matt Stern's gonna join on singing in French because he knows French. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, no, that's amazing. So you're going to be doing sort of like a French Sister Speak acoustic album.
Just that one song partially in French, and then the other songs will be acoustic. First time recording in Vancouver and ever. So it's going to be more of an EP. So I've never recorded an acoustic EP or fully acoustic really album as Sister Speak either. So
okay, well that'll be fun. That'll be really cool because I mean a lot of your shows, when you are traveling extensively, you mix it up, right? Like you travel with your band, but you also do these Sister Speak solo shows where you perform on your own, right?
Yeah, and my backing band is all the tea when I'm solo.
If you were going to describe Sister Speak, how would you describe it?
Sister Speak is a traveling musician project that I perform through.
Okay.
Indie, folk, blues, world all mixed together. And during the travels, I drink JagaSilk tea before and after shows.
Yeah, it's a must.
And the goal is to connect with people while on Earth. And mostly going to be touring Eastern Canada and USA, Western Canada, USA, and Germany this summer. Yeah.
This summer. Do you have it booked? Do you have because you went to Germany. I guess it's you got some love coming from Germany because you went twice last year, right? In like the same month.
Yeah. So it's the Germany section and the West Coast section are booked and pretty much. So it's been a bit of it has been a busy month actually, trying to coordinate everything.
Can only imagine. We're actually we're doing some renovations here. We just I don't know if you can see, but there's a new dishwasher and sink installed, and we're planning on moving some of our equipment down into what we're going to call JagaSilk Tea Lab down the stairs. And if everything goes well, I'm actually going to have a new cabinet behind me for next JagaVision. So I'm stoked about that. And good. So lots of busy stuff. But Truth and Dolphin, I feel like, needs some love. I was writing some new music yesterday. I was like, oh man, I want to perform these. It's,
yeah, I know, right? Just having a show. I've only played one show in the last while. Tonight I'm gonna be playing an open mic actually.
Because you normally you're quite active, right? This is very unusual. You're taking a little bit of a break, but you normally hundreds of shows a year, right? Like it's just a little. Like I always watch your tours. I'm like, wow, pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I've taken the doctor's guidelines. I don't want to mess around with a post-COVID recovery, so I'm not pushing myself until I'm fully healed, or at least majority healed. Yeah, nobody really wants to talk about it anymore. I know it's kind of a burnout topic, but I did manage to have quite a long recovery time after my first known case. So making sure that I'm not pushing myself, because everything I've read is that if we are able to rest, the body can heal more naturally. So I've been doing that for like 4 months, and now I'm ready to get back on the road soon. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're starting to feel. It sounds like you're starting to feel better, and we've had a chance to see you here at in Vic, and hoping that we get something happening here in Newport this year, and have Sister Speak back performing. I think that would be really fun. And
yeah, I'm all in. That would be really fun. I'm still stoked about if you want to do the series.
all right. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
The body tells us when it needs to heal, so that's pretty cool. That's what I'm learning, even if I get frustrated with myself sometimes. Like, obviously, having such an intense schedule for so long, it was really hard for me to slow down. But I knew that if I didn't, then I wouldn't necessarily be able to connect with different communities the way I want to in the future. So that was like, it's inspiring enough just to be like, okay, let's rest.
Terrible segue, but today's show, I actually wanted to talk about resting tea.
Resting tea.
Yeah, and what that's all about. So
resting tea.
Yeah. So what is it? What does it mean to rest tea? So I figured, what we could do is we could look at how this connects to with what you're doing, which is recovery. What a lot of people are doing, and what's interesting is that
how is it a terrible segue? Sorry to interrupt you, but how is that a terrible segue? It's perfect segue. Resting tea. What could be better?
Yeah, fair. There's a University of Kyoto sort of collection of studies that have been looking into green tea and its effects on coronaviruses, and there's some really promising results that are suggesting that it helps with the body's ability to sort of be a bit more protected against it, which is kind of interesting. So this has been called hogwash by certain universities here in North America, but Germany seems to back it up too. So it's worthwhile looking it up online, the connection between green tea and COVID.
I agree. Remember the even earlier forms of SARS, it was there were studies on.
Right. And so it's actually kind of interesting, just the potential for it to sort of interact in your body and put you in a good place. And it's also considered by some to be an adaptogen to help you come back to a place of good health. If you're a borderline diabetic, and can help bring you back to having a little bit better insulin levels. It can help with if you have too high or too low cholesterol levels, these kinds of things. So there's some really powerful healing opportunities that are possible with matcha. And it's also just, from Chinese medicine perspective, it's very cooling. So if you have a lot of inflammation, which can happen, build up from coronavirus, then it can help with sort of reducing some of that inflammation. So there's some interesting potentials there for why it might be a good idea to drink some matcha. But what I want to talk about in terms of resting, though, was actually fairly flavor based. And the reason I'm talking about it on today's show is because we put a lot of, energy into talking about tea as a perishable good. So, a lot of people have 5, 7, 10-year-old tea in their cupboard, and we're always encouraging people to, maybe consider composting some of that tea when it's over a year or over 2 years old. We often say once you open up the bag, you have about 3 weeks before you lose a lot of that vibrancy or the chi of the tea. But more often than not, folks will open up bag after bag after bag of tea and be going through a huge collection of teas that are oxidizing. And I'm bad for this too. So it's not like I'm saying that I don't do that. You know very well that I do. But
I do too. I have like 5 open teas, and I'm trying to figure out, because I can't have a lot of caffeine, so I'm trying to figure out how to go through them.
So I kind of have been like, okay, 1 or 2 of different types. So like 1 or 2 oolongs, 1 or 2 greens, 1 or 2. I consider matcha its own thing, and I only ever open up 1 bag of matcha because it's so delicate. And then and then 1 or 2 herbal teas. But herbal teas actually are the hardest for me to keep to 1 or 2 because I feel like I drink different herbal teas for different reason. But the benefit there is that a lot of herbal teas, especially ones that are more like barks and roots, etc., are a lot more able to sort of stay good even if they're a little bit older.
I noticed that even when I'm like going in the cupboard of a friend's house and taking all their tea. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
That there's yeah, funny.
When I borrow their tea, like a couple tea bags.
Sure. And then it might be a little bit old, but as long as it's like a root tea, then maybe it's going to be okay, right?
Exactly. I noticed that, especially the ginger teas, they last a really long time.
What I've noticed is, though, and this brought up to me when we were first working with the Harima family, with our organics, they were talking to us about tencha that they had in the freezer for 4 years, and that they were milling, and it was tasting even more delicious. And I always thought that was like, okay, I don't know if I believe that, because there's such a, I don't know, like it's such a vibrant tea. I feel like to really get the best out of it needs to be fresh of the fresh. They talk about this in coffee a bit too, where if you drink right after it's been freshly roasted, it's a little bit too, it's too much carbon dioxide, and so it can be a little bit too acidic or challenging to work with. Lots of gas. If you work with wine, like red wines, often like letting them age a bit can really help to develop the flavors and make them taste more interesting. Or maybe in just everyday life, a curry or a soup, you often find that the flavors develop a lot nicer once you let them rest a bit. So like the next day often tastes even nicer than they do. And that's, I think what's happening there is there's this development of the umami, this kind of backbone of flavor. And I think that this happens with tea, and different teas, it happens in different speeds. But matcha is being harvested soon in the end of May, early June.
Ooh. You want to go to Japan?
Yeah, I really do. And it's always this kind of like, okay, well, I have tencha, for example, it'll be harvested in June, but I won't see it until July. And then if you're in Japan, a lot of kind of top-notch matcha specialty shops won't sell the harvest until the fall.
Oh.
And the reason for that is that they feel that when they sell it, what's called shincha, or like new tea, there's actually too much, almost too much florality or bitters and not enough umami, and so it's a little bit flat. So I've been noticing this. Like I just got in some samples of fresh Darjeeling teas from Darjeeling. These crimson teas from Darjeeling, I should say, to be more accurate. And they were fragrant, they were beautiful, but there was a kind of a backbone to the tea that was missing somewhat. Anyways, I thought it'd be interesting to sort of drink one of our matchas that we've been having fairly regularly. Did you find a Yapusame Kuri or a Okumidori Okubo?
I have Okushimo tencha here.
Do you have any matcha?
Yes, I have Okumidori Okubo.
Okumidori Okubo. Okay, why don't you open up some Okumidori Okubo? And we'll do the regular system of 2 grams through a sieve, and we'll pour some of our 65-degree water on top, 90 grams of it. Do you have a scale? Or what's your setup right now? I know you're in Montreal.
Yeah, I think I do have a scale. Let me go check it out. I'll be right back.
And just for those watching, I'm essentially wanting to, I guess, understand the tea a little bit. I want to understand if the flavor has degraded over time. And this is something that would be a little bit more interesting if I was drinking it next to the same tea but harvested in 2023, which is something that I plan on doing if I have any left of the 2022 when that time comes. I might even put some aside for this process. But I have found that every year I go and I drink samples of the new harvest. I'm always a little bit disappointed. But then I drink it like I don't know, 3 months later, and suddenly the same tencha is really, really nice. So resting can do some really fantastic things. So you found yourself a scale?
So basically, after resting for a few months, you think the tour is going to be a lot more.
You'll have more umami.
Vibrant?
Yeah, you're gonna have more depth.
More umami in my set.
It's gonna the fragrance is gonna be balanced out. maybe too much resting will make too much fragrance, though, right? It's
Okay, so I'm excited about incorporating more umami into my musical compositions.
well, it's good to. I remember, you of course you introduced me to Steve, the Steve's Painted World, the amazing Mr. Schmiller.
Mr. Schmiller.
He was talking to me about the fall being a time of creation, or winter time, and to just focus on being creative. So
Cool.
that I thought was interesting, and we actually wrote a few songs last year during that time. I thought that was fun. So
okay, so I'm doing the 2-gram method. I might need to get new batteries. Oh, this is good. I have this unique bowl here.
Okay.
Tar. Okay. 2 grams. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the sieve.
Okay. We actually didn't used to have people sieve their tea. It's just we found that it made it so that the texture was a lot more consistent. I think when you're in a hurry and you're whisking, it can be prone to clumping if you don't use a sieve.
Oh, okay.
And it's just a more even extraction when you put it through a sieve first. But it's not like I will make tea without using the sieve here and there, just because either I'm at home and it's not easy to get my hands on, or I'll be traveling or something, or even fresh out of the mill. I feel like it's just so fluffy that I don't even know if I need a sieve.
Can we talk about the aromas of this?
Yeah, very. I'm getting almost like a pumpkin. Yeah.
Wow.
I often talk about like violet and stuff with this tea. What are you getting?
White chocolate.
White chocolate. Okay. All right. Yeah, and then when I taste it,
2 grams.
even though this is our cafe standard, and it's kind of considered our lowest grade that we carry, I think it's still very good matcha that I'm proud of.
So good.
And I toasted that one on our tea roaster. So yeah.
Oh, really?
I did.
That's awesome. I remember being in the shop and seeing you like a scientist, all roasting and measuring and buttoning, pressing, and it was so funny. You just look like you're having a ball.
Yeah, a little bit too much fun with the machines. And then the milling and the chillers and the setting. Yeah, because we found that different temperatures are bringing out different flavors on the mill. We can actually adjust the plate temperature for when we're milling, which has been really interesting. And then, of course, I just roasted up some tencha, and I'm stoked for that. See what that ends up tasting like. We've got a new-ish format that we're doing where we divide up the episodes into 2 parts. So you're watching part 1 right now, and hopefully you choose to watch part 2. If you're watching part 2, though, then watch part 1, because it's all going to make sense.